In corporate America, there's this communication technique called the compliment sandwich. And what it aims to do is to give critical feedback to someone that begins and ends with statements about what they're doing right, with the actual meat of the conversation or the criticism being stated in between. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to give a compliment, criticism, and compliment of our parents who decided to raise us in the West. And the reason why I've titled this video Forgiving Our Parents is because when you're older, you get close to the age where you yourself might start to, have children and you begin to understand like the real pressure of living and being an adult and being a responsible person in the world. And and on top of that, being an immigrant from another country. So, when you look back at the negative things you felt for your parents when you were younger, you start to reevaluate, um, you know, the decisions that they had made and see that, they did the best with the information that they had, So that's compliment number one. Um, my criticism, and this may need a video by itself, but a serious question that needs to be answered within not just the Ethiopian diaspora community, but all immigrant communities is, um, was it worth it? Was it worth it struggling to learn a new language, adopt a new culture, take your children away from their immediate, families back home, all for the hopes of a materially better life. So that's an open question, and I have my own opinions on that, which I'll discuss later, in later videos. But this is something that needs to be discussed because the children who've grown up in the West have faced so much in terms of coming to terms with their identity. I mean, think about it. There have always been refugees in human history, but they didn't have planes back then. You would typically escape to the neighboring country where they most likely had similar language, if not the same language, similar culture, and it was a place of refuge until you could return back to your home country. And then that's another actual topic I think I'll have to discuss. Is where being a refugee is a temporary thing until safety comes back to the place where you're from. But setting that aside, we're in we then come to a point in the 20th century where you have airplanes and you're bringing people from all over the world with completely incompatible cultures and throwing them into the West like a mad science experiment, hoping it turns out all right. So, I'm not saying positive things have not come out of migration to the West, but I think the downsides have been downplayed very, very much. So, okay, to close the sandwich, the but the one positive thing I can say is that, you know, because of being brought here to the West, I think uh, the material aspect does need to be highlighted, and it's obvious, but the, being in a place with stable laws, stable politics, it allows you to move past those first two layers of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you're not just completely focusing on the physiological and your safety needs, but rather you can move on and flourish towards self actualization.